Hi, this is Ryan Milky and welcome to another video. House of the Dragon Season 1 has officially ended and filming for Season 2 is done. And I have to say I never thought I would enjoy an entire season's worth of build-up as much as I did. The first season of HBO's brand new smash hit laid the ground for the conflict that would eventually be called the Dance of the Dragons. The season finale also fired the first public shot of said dance, with Prince Lucerys Velaryon becoming the first official casualty. Now that we know all the players and where they all stand, with war being inevitable, I thought that this would be the right time to take a look at some of my most anticipated storylines for Season 2 of House of the Dragon. So let's dive straight into it, and spoiler warning here because there will be a lot of these in this video. Immediate fallout of Lucerys Velaryon's death. So the first thing that we should anticipate being picked up is the last thing that happened on the show, and this was the tragic demise of Prince Lucerys Velaryon and his dragon Arrax at the jaws of Vhagar. We saw the immediate reaction of Luke's death from his side. Daemon delivered the news to a broken Rhaenyra, whose enraged face was the last shot that we saw of the finale. In the books, King Aegon II threw a great feast in honour of his brother's victories, but all their enemies denounced Aemon as Kingslayer. That's because killing one's own kin is a great sin in Westerosi custom. The immediate aftermath of Luke's death from the Blacks is bringing fire and blood, while the Greens feast and quiver in light of their ill omens. I suspect that we will see the victory feast as the opening shot of Season 2, or at least see it in some time in the first episode. What will also be absolutely heart-wrenching to see and behold is Prince Jacaerys Velaryon's reaction to his brother's death. The last time we saw the two together, before the war started forming, was when Jace was drilling his brother at arms in the courtyard. If you followed the story closely, Jace knows that he and his brothers are bastards, but is determined to prove himself worthy of his mother's belief in him. He is a model prince, far less provocative than Aemond and far more dutiful and diligent than Aegon. He drills Luke hard because he knows that the three of them, including baby Joffrey, will need to provide their worth in the Seven Kingdoms. Speaking of Joffrey, it will be interesting to see if the show actually goes so far as to show his reaction to his brother's death, because he perhaps is the most fiery of Rhaenyra's three strong lads. Expect the first episode to be a jumbled mess of celebration, mourning, rage and fear. We shall pray for the morning of Prince Lucerys Velaryon, heir to the titles of Lord of the Tides and Master of Driftmark, and the designated ascendant to the Driftwood throne. But what I can't wait to see is his birthright in action. Blood and cheese. Remember how Queen Helena had been scared of a beast beneath the boards for the latter half of Season 1? Well, we're all about to meet said beast in Season 2, and I'm pretty sure that you've all heard their names by now, but I will introduce you to them anyway. This entry ties directly into the first one, as it will be the main follow-up to Prince Lucerys Velaryon's murder, and what a follow-up it will be when it happens. In the ranks of the Goldcloak City Watch, there is a man who lost his cloak for beating a harlot to death in a drunken rage. He now works as a butcher in Fleabottom and is known only by the name Blood. In the shadows and darkest corners of the Red Keep there lurks a rat catcher who knows its secrets as well as Maegor the Cruel. His name is Cheese, and he could effectively become a master of whisperers based on his knowledge of the Red Keep and the Dragon Lords alone. While these two men have nothing in common at first, the thread linking them together is actually a white worm. Queen Alicent Hightower demanded an eye for an eye in episode 7, and Prince Aemond repeated that request in episode 10, but he ended up going way beyond what anyone expected and has now marked his own family out for the stranger. I don't want to spoil anything right now, obviously, because it looks like Season 2 might be a couple of months away. Let's just say that Lucerys shall be avenged and it shall be brutal. The sowing of the dragon seeds. This is an event that has been set up rather heavily by episode 10, and we can expect to see it play out in a Season 2 as early as the third episode. At Rhaenyra's first council after being crowned queen, Daemon makes the argument that they should strike hard and fast, and they would have King's Landing within a moon's turn. At the core of his argument is a simple majority factor: Rhaenyra's side have more dragons. All of Alicent's children were dragon riders, but no warriors, so the Greens only really had 3 dragon riding fighters. Rhaenyra's side had at least twice their numbers, through half of theirs was afflicted with the perils of youth. Baelor and Joffrey's dragons are not of fighting size at the start of the war, something that became clear when Arrax fell to Vhagar, but Daemon clearly says that the Blacks control 13 of their 3, and the rest of the dragons are going to require dragon seeds to mount them. In total, there are 6 wild and or untamed dragons in and around Dragonstone. There's Seasmoke, who resides on Driftmark, Vermithor and Silverwing, who reside at Dragonstone. The 3 wild dragons, Grey Goat, Sheepstealer, and the Cannibal, make their lair in the Dragon Mount. Daemon has additional eggs incubating as well. He clearly means to win this war with dragons, not even swords, but then the question arises, who would ride all these dragons? Daemon can't ride 2 dragons. The only reason he is singing to Vermithor is to reacquaint him with the human presence. The Bronze Fury has been wild for around 30 years by this point, and besides, he's already bounded to Caraxes, and it's well known that the person can only bond with 1 dragon in its lifetime, unless the dragon dies of course, and vice versa. The Blacks are going to have to find brand new dragon ride. Luckily for them, they live on an island full of... The Targaryens, as you might have noticed, are a bit fond of sex, and in their 2-century-long occupation of dragons, many Targaryens have, well, let's say, intermingled with the small folk. The result of such unions, called dragons, have enough Targaryen blood in them to attempt to claim their mighty, fiery steeds. Suffice to say, the sowing shall be one of the landmark cinematic events, and I can't wait to see Jace coming into his manhood properly by initiating it. The conclusion of Helena's ominous prophecies. It is said that actions are louder than words, and if that is true, then we should be analysing every single frame Queen Helaena Targaryen has been in, for every word she's spoken so far has more or less come true. Blessed or cursed, as you'll see, with the prophetic power of dragon dreams, Helaena is the only dreamer in her brood, much like her father, but unlike Viserys, who only had that one dream about his heir, and then became obsessed with omens and importance. Helena's prophetic powers seem to be much more far-reaching. She is already predicting the dance and its instigator Aemon's one-eye fate, and seemingly her own as well. Although it is the last of these that I will show you just why prophecies are so revealing in this world. Tyrion Lannister calls prophecy a half-trained mule that will kick you in the head at the first chance it gets, and Marwyn the Magic calls it a treacherous woman that will take your manhood in her mouth and bite it clean off at the height of your pleasure. We're already getting that treacherous prophecy vibe from Helaena as she keeps getting more concerned about the beast beneath the boards with every passing episode. There is one scene that is already potentially foreshadowed this horrific conclusion of Helena's prophecies. The tragic passing of Vaemond Valerian. Go back and watch that episode again and pay close attention to the reaction that Alicent's children have to Vaemond getting beheaded. Aegon is semi-disgusted. Aemond is both impressed and aroused, but Helaena immediately clutches her ears as if she's just seen something that reminds her of something else. Keep this detail in mind because this seemingly small scene will end up having a lot of significance when Season 2 comes around. Queen Helaena Targaryen most likely knows her own fate and that of her children, and it is possible that in this moment she is seeing one of them play out in front of her very own eyes. She's going to be a character to look out for. Her intelligence by the end of this series will mimic a character arc more like Cersei, and that is not a compliment. Larys Strong versus Mysaria. What's the next move in the Battle of the Spy Masters? When we last saw Larys Strong and Mysaria the White Worm, they had both made a play to strengthen their hands, and they had both achieved varying degrees of success. While Larys was successful in securing Otto Hightower's trust and using Alicent for his own needs, Mysaria had managed to procure the future king of Westeros and trade him back for a better life for the children of Fleabottom at the end of episode 9. This is a woman who has been brought and sold more times than she can remember. She was the lover of Dragon Prince, and it's not so easy to flush a worm out of its hole. What is going to be more interesting is what the Lords of Feet next move is going to be. With war now afoot, Otto Hightower is in need of a spy master more than ever, and recall from episode 9 that after getting Alan Caswell arrested, Larys positioned an alliance between the two of them. Expect Larys Strong to emerge as King Aegon II's official Master of Whispers and wreak more havoc across the continent with his army of fleas and fireflies. This rivalry will be one of the more cerebral battles of the entire Dance of the Dragons, with far-reaching consequences for both of their actions. All the dragon fights ever. And last but not least, we will be seeing all the dragons of House of Targaryen can muster, let their flames loose upon the knights and lords of the Seven Kingdoms, and wage war as dragon lords of Old Valyria once did. This entry is a bit of a cop-out, yeah, I get it, but it's milky guys, you know I love dragons, and I'm looking forward to all the dragon fights that we are most certainly getting next season. I mean, Vhagar versus Arrax was a short fight, but it certainly did not feel that way. The amount of tactics and sheer primal instinct that went into that battle was enough to have me salivating at my mouth for more dragon fights. And if an encounter between two mismatched dragons managed to be so compelling, imagine what one between two evenly matched dragons would look like. Although we have seen some fire from a distance, I can't wait to see his deathly majesty when King Aegon flies him into action. Vhagar has drawn first blood, so Caraxes must respond in kind. Caraxes might not have been bred for warfare, but I don't think that House of the Dragon is going to let Rhaenyra off the hook without participating in at least one battle. She is meant to be Dany's predecessor in the show after all. And then we have all the rest as well. Seasmoke and Dreamfire, Vermax and Tessarion, Vermithor and Silverwing, and Sheepstealer. As well, all these dragons fight against or beside each other in some combination or the other, but the result of their dances are always the same. Fire and Blood, Civil War, is a bloody affair, as it is, but one fought between the House of the Dragon, when it actually possesses dragons, has the potential to be cataclysmic. The dance is a glorious war that has many songs written about it in the years that follow, but it also leaves many great houses suddenly devoid of many family members. No amount of cool CGI can make up for the moral cost of Rhaenyra and Aegon's political conflict, but they can most certainly try, and based on Vhagar versus Arrax, I might just be swayed as well. And that's it for the list, guys. There are so many things that I haven't even spoken about here, like the Pact of Ice and Fire, but we'll leave those topics for when the Season 2 arrives. House of the Dragon has managed to capture our attention so well that for now I am content with feeding the Discord around it. So let me know what your most anticipated story for Season 2 is in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you like this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay milky.